Okay, this is Coach Dez here. Let's look at the AFC picture. Right now, the Chiefs hold the number one spot. I don't think the Chiefs versus the Bengals, they probably won't start their starters. So this may not be a high-scoring game. So if you're betting over or unders, I wouldn't bet on that game. The Bills are in the number two spot. They also don't need to play their starters. They have that locked in. So I don't think the Bills versus the Patriots, they may start their starters, but they're probably going to pull them in the second half. So also I probably wouldn't bet on that game also as far as overs and unders. Now this is where the flip can come in. Right now the Ravens are in the third slot with a loss. With a loss to the Browns, the Steelers will take the third slot. Right now, the Steelers are in the fifth slot. So, Chargers are in the sixth spot. And the seventh spot belongs to... Who do the seventh spot belongs to? Oh, I didn't mark it. The Broncos. So, let's look at this. If it ends today, the Broncos will be playing the Bills. Bills will win that game. The Chargers will be playing the Ravens. The Ravens will win that game. The Texans will be playing the Steelers, and that's going to be a fight. But we already know that the Steelers beat the Texans. So, regardless, if the Steelers win and the Ravens lose, the Texans is still going to be out of it'll be one and done for them. So I'm just letting you know. You may not like what I have to say. Oh well. Let's go to the NFC. Well, right now, the Lions hold the number one spot. And guess what? They play the Vikings Sunday night. So right now, the Vikings are sitting in the fifth spot. If the Lions win, the Vikings maintain the fifth spot. And the Lions will have the bye week. But if the Lions lose, the Vikings will have the first spot, and the Lions will have the fifth spot. So now this is the situation here. The Eagles have the number 2 seed locked up. The Rams have the 3rd seed, but the 4th seed still is undecided. If the Buccaneers beat the Saints, then they have the 4th seed. If they lose to the Saints, then the Falcons have to beat the Panthers in order to take the 4th seed. Now, this is so crazy because both of these games are at noon. So they're going to be watching the scores as they play. So if it ends today, the Lions have the 1 seed and playoffs start tomorrow. Washington will be playing the Eagles. See, the Packers and Washington have to win their games. See, Washington plays the Cowboys, the Bears play the Packers. They have to win that game in order to maintain the seed. But the Packers need Washington to lose so that they can have the 6th seed. And Washington will end up having to play the Eagles. Nobody wants to play the Eagles right now at this point. Not the Washington and not the Packers. Because whoever play the Eagles will be knocked out in the first round. The Rams will play either the Packers or Washington. They get knocked out. The Buccaneers will play the Vikings or the Lions. They will be knocked out. But I'm going to tell you now, the Buccaneers is a dangerous team to think you're just going to up and win on, because they are now getting back their players and they're starting to click. So that is something to watch out for. So let's go and see what these individual games are going to be like. So I have the Browns and the Ravens. I think that game will be tied in the first quarter. The Ravens will win this game 28-16. The Giants versus the Eagles. I think it will be tied in the first quarter. The Eagles win this game 27-16. Washington versus the Cowboys. I know that Washington will win this game. There is no ties. 28-21. the Chiefs versus the Broncos, even though they're not starting their starters. I think it'll be tied in the first quarter. It will be tied at halftime. It will be tied in the second half, as well as it will go into overtime. I have the Chiefs winning this game in overtime. The Jaguars versus the Colts, I think it will be tied in the first quarter. Tied in the second half. Colts winning this game 21-18. Vikings versus the Lions will be tied in the first quarter. Be tied in the second half. I think the Lions win this game 33-26. Texans versus the Titans, I think it'll be tied in the first quarter. Tied in the second half. Texans win this game 21-18. Dolphins versus the Jets, it will be tied in the first quarter. Tied in the second half. At halftime. Tied in the second half. This game will go into overtime. I think the Dolphins will win this game in overtime. Bills versus the Patriots. I don't see this game being tied at all. I think the Bills win this game 31-17. Seahawks versus the Rams. I think it'd be tied in the first quarter. And it will be tied at the end of the fourth quarter. I think I have the Rams winning this game in overtime. Bengals versus the Steelers. I don't see any ties. It may be tied in the second half. But I got the Bengals winning this game by 28-22. The Bears versus the Packers. I don't see any ties. I think the Packers win this 27-18. Panthers versus the Falcons. I see a tie in the first quarter. A tie in the second half, but I see the Panthers winning this game 18-20. No, Falcons winning this game 18-22. Saints versus the Buccaneers. I don't see anything that stands out. I think the Buccaneers beat the Saints 30-20. 49ers versus the Cardinals. I see a tie in the first quarter, a tie at halftime, a tie in the second half. This game goes into overtime. I got the Cardinals winning this game in overtime. And last but not least, the Chargers versus the Raiders. I see a tie in the first quarter. And a tie in the second half. I see the Chargers winning this game 23-18. Now, remember, all of these are divisional games. All of these are divisional games. All of these are. So, you probably want to go back and see what their score was when they first played. And see what they want, how they won, how much they won by, and what was the total points before you go out and bet your overs or unders. And remember, so if you stayed and watched that 17-minute video last week on this information that I gave you, then I know you want some money. So when you cast your ticket in, it says see cashier, amount too large, see cashier. So with that being said, I'm just hinting. Peace out.